Hello everyone and welcome to STEM School. In today's video we're going to be looking at the topic of proportion, and what I'll be doing is explain everything that you need to know about this, and then at the end of the video we're going to do some GCSE exam questions, so stay tuned for that as I'll give you lots of tips for the pattern of questions that you're likely to see. So we'll start off with, what does proportion mean? So if two variables are proportional to each other, then they are related to each other in a certain way. So if one variable changes, the other variable will change in a certain way. And then we normally write the proportion with a symbol like this. So what you'll read this as is proportional to, so we say y is proportional to x. Alright, so let's go over some terminology that you guys need to understand. So what we need to appreciate is that there are two types of proportion. We've got direct proportion and then we've got inverse proportion. So the first one is direct proportion, and what this is when both variables increase or decrease together. So we've got a few graphs here and we've got different relations. So we've got a linear relation, quadratic and cubic. So let's look at the linear relation, okay? So say if we've got a point at 3, 3, okay? So if I want to go up the y-axis to say 5 for instance, okay? If I go up the y-axis, it also means I go up the x-axis because I'll also get the same number of 5. So what this means is that both variables increase together. Now this test if we go down the y-axis, so if we go down to like 2, okay, do the exact same thing, and what you'll find is that this also equals 2 on the x-axis. So when you go up and down the y-axis, you also go up and down the x-axis. So what we can say is directly proportional. So for this, we say y is directly proportional to x, okay? Then same for the quadratic, but this time it'll be y is directly proportional to x squared. Then for the cubic, it'll be y is directly proportional to x cubed. Now, the second type of proportion is inverse proportion. And this is when one variable goes up, the other variable goes down. So we've got a point here, we've got 4 on the y-axis. Say if I wanted to go up to 5, okay, then I take it to the line and I bring it down to the x-axis. What I'll find is we'll get a smaller number. So what this shows is that when I go up the y-axis, I go down the x-axis, okay? So what we can say is that y is inversely proportional to x. And as it's linear, it'll just be a single x, okay? Then for the inverse quadratic, it'll be the similar thing. It'll be y is inversely proportional to 1 over x squared. Now, before we move on to some proportion exam questions, I'll explain the method that will help us to figure these questions out. So in a proportion question, you'll be told two variables and the relationship between them. The first step is to decide if it's directly or indirectly proportional. And then you decide if it's a linear or quadratic, etc. relationship. And the second step is to write the expression with the proportional symbol, and then make the expression into an equation using the equal sign and k. So you replace the proportional symbol with the equal sign, and then you include k to make a formula. And then the last step is to use the numbers from the question to find k. And then you'll have a formula, and then you'll normally be asked to find a value given this formula and another value, okay? So let's move on to this question, okay? Let's have a go at it. So we have a ball that's dropped vertically, falls d meters in t seconds, and d is directly proportional to the square of t. So here they're mentioning the two variables and the relationship of them. The ball drops 45 meters in the first 3 seconds. So here we're told the numbers that will help us find k. So this is quite typical of a proportion question. How far does the ball drop in the next 7 seconds, we're asked. So let's do the first step, and from the question we've been told that it is directly proportional to the square of t. So we can write d is directly proportional to t squared. Then the next step is to replace the proportion symbol with an equal sign, then include k into it, so you get a formula. D is equal to kt squared. The next step is using the numbers in the question to find the value of k to get a formula. So we've been told that d is equal to 45 and k is equal to 3, k times 3 squared, which is 9. So when you work this out, you'll get k is equal to 5. And now this sub that back into the formula, so we have d is equal to 5t squared. Okay, so we've been asked to figure out how far does the ball drop in the next 7 seconds, okay? So what we need to do is figure the time out at 10 seconds and then take away the distance at the 3 second mark, and that'll figure out how much the ball drops in the next 7 seconds. That's why it's bold, it's giving me a clue there, okay? So at t is equal to 10 seconds, we just sub the values in. So we have d is equal to 5 times 10 squared. And then we have d is equal to 500 meters. Okay, so at t is equal to 3 seconds, we've got d is equal to 45 meters. So how far does the ball drop in the next 7 seconds? What we need to do is subtract them. So we do 500 meters, take away 45 meters, and what you get is 455 meters. Right, so let's move on to the next question. And this is a multiple choice question, but it is still quite similar in the fact that we have to use the similar method, okay? So we're told that xy is equal to c, where c is a constant. So that's similar to how we use k as a constant in the formula before. And what we need to do is circle the correct statement. So essentially, we need to rearrange this equation to find out what the relationship between the two variables x and y is. So let's do that. Let's do xy is equal to c. And we normally deal with equations with y on the left hand side, don't we? So let's get rid of the x. Let's divide both sides by x. And when you do that, you'll get y is equal to c over x. And another way to represent this is y is equal to 1 over x multiplied by c, if it's easier to visualize this. So when you see this, what you'll think to yourself, y is inversely proportional to x. That's how you'll read it in your head. But when you look at the multiple choice, none of these fits, okay? But another way to say this is y is directly proportional to 1 over x, which is this option. So it's trying to trick you out a little bit. Alright, so we finally made it to the final question. And this question is actually broken into two parts, part A and part B. And it actually hints towards the method that is used to figure out these kind of questions anyway. So we're told that y is inversely proportional to root x, and that when y is equal to 4, x is equal to 9. So already we're told the two variables, x and y, and the relationship between them. So part A is asking us, work out an equation connecting y and x. So let's do that, okay? So the first step is to write the relationship down. So we can say that y is inversely proportional to root x, 1 over root x, okay? And then the second step is to replace the proportional symbol with an equal sign and include k into it, the constant k. And there we have it, so we've got a formula here. And then the next step, as normal, is to use the numbers given to us to work out the value of k. So we just sub those values in. So y is equal to 4. 4 is equal to k over root 9, which is x. So when you work that out, you'll get k is equal to 12. Okay? And when you sub that in, you'll get the overall formula of y is equal to 12 over root x. Okay, so that's the answer to part A. So as normal, for our proportion question, we'll be asked to figure out one value given the other value using this equation. So we have to just sub in x is equal to 25 into this equation. So we have y is equal to 12 all over root 25, which is x. So when you figure that out, you'll get y is equal to 2.4. Simple as that. So I hope this video has helped you, and join me in the next video as we dive into the world of algebra and deal with single bracket questions. And as always, please do like and subscribe so I can help you study quicker and more efficiently. So I'll see you in the next lesson.